Goku sacrificed the angel's Ultra Instinct and awakened the ultimate ancient Saiyan power. That's right, but hold on, I'll explain everything to you. So fire off a Kamehameha into that like button and let's get into this video. It's absolutely insane. Throughout his journey, Goku has always been a warrior who pushed past his own limits. From his first battles against villains like King Piccolo and Frieza, to his fights in other universes, he never stopped seeking evolution. But with the awakening of Ultra Instinct, Goku accessed a completely different territory, a divine technique used by gods like Whis. Ultra Instinct isn't just a power transformation. It's a spiritual state where mind and body separate in pure harmony. However, achieving this state didn't come without sacrifices. When Goku first awakened Ultra Instinct in the Tournament of Power, it was out of pure survival instinct. His body pushed to unimaginable limits by the explosion of the Spirit Bomb and extreme pressure, reacted with something completely new. That was just a glimpse of something much bigger, something even the gods didn't expect a mortal to achieve. But what few noticed at that moment was that Ultra Instinct was already silently taking its toll. Goku's body wasn't prepared for it. Ultra Instinct requires the body to act on its own, without the mind interfering. Muscles move on their own, reflexes operate with full efficiency, and senses expand beyond logic. But for this to happen, the body needs to be in perfect condition, and more importantly, it needs to withstand the speed, precision, and energy that this state demands. Every time Goku accessed Ultra Instinct, even for brief seconds, it was like tearing his own internal fibers to achieve something unattainable. When Goku first awakened complete Ultra Instinct against Jiren, the visual spectacle captivated everyone. His silver hair, divine aura, and tranquility amidst the chaos made it seem like he had become something beyond mortals. But when the transformation ceased, Goku collapsed in excruciating pain, his body trembling as if overloaded by an energy he still didn't comprehend. It was a warning. Ultra Instinct is beautiful, it's lethal, it's divine, but it's not made for a human body. Over time, Goku continued training with Whis, trying to understand the principles of this technique. Whis always made it clear, Ultra Instinct isn't about strength, but about balance and total body control. For Whis, it's natural. For Goku, a mortal who adapted little by little, each step required brutal physical adjustment. His training on Beerus's planet became almost torture. Every time he accessed the state, Goku felt his joints burn, his muscles stretch to the extreme, and even his internal organs suffer from the absurd pressure the technique caused. But Goku never backed down. He knew that if he wanted to protect his friends and family, he would need to master Ultra Instinct, not just access it in critical moments. However, mastering it didn't mean using it without consequences. On the contrary, the more natural Ultra Instinct became for Goku, the clearer it became that his body needed to evolve with it. And even with all his Saiyan resilience, he wasn't immune to wear and tear. During the Moro arc, Goku showed a gigantic leap in his evolution. He not only accessed Ultra Instinct with ease, but also maintained the state for long periods. It was proof that his training with Whis and Maris had worked. But at the end of the fight, even victorious, Goku needed time to recover. The fatigue he felt wasn't just physical, but cellular, energetic, almost as if each use of Ultra Instinct slowly drained his vitality. It's as if Goku was sculpting his own body to fit into the divine form. With each use, he refined his senses, trained his mind for the necessary emptiness, and adjusted his musculature to withstand the almost instantaneous reflexes that this state demands. But, like a clay pot being heated too much, there was always the risk of cracking. Even in more recent sagas, like Granolas and the events after the superhero movie, Goku continued to experiment with new ways to use Ultra Instinct. He learned to use the instinct with emotions, something the angels never did. This paved the way for hybrid versions like True Ultra Instinct, which mixes instinctive power with emotional motivation, something more compatible with Goku's nature, but still the strain on his body remained. Whis always warned, Ultra Instinct is an endless path where the user needs to adapt their soul, their mind, and their body. For Goku, this meant training not just to get stronger, but to become lighter, calmer, more stable, and that was the hardest thing for someone as impulsive as him. What few understand is that Goku didn't just train his strength, but he trained his spirit. He had to learn to empty himself inside, not to fight with anger or in a hurry. And this process changed him profoundly. He's no longer the same boy who screamed in fury to achieve Super Saiyan. Now he closes his eyes and breathes, and the universe responds. Still, No matter how much he's becoming one with Ultra Instinct, Goku remains immortal, and because of that, every battle that requires prolonged use of the technique, every time he pushes this state beyond the limit, his body pays the price. Perhaps he doesn't realize it yet, but the signs are there: longer recovery times, more intense pain, and even periods of disorientation when he exits the state. Ultra Instinct is both a blessing and a curse. For Goku, it's the pinnacle of everything he always wanted to achieve, but it's also a reminder that there's a cost for touching the divine. Even with all his indomitable will, even with a pure heart and an open mind, Goku is still flesh and blood. And that flesh, that mortal structure, even being Saiyan, has a limit that not even Ultra Instinct can ignore. What comes next will be decisive. Goku is getting closer and closer to mastering Ultra Instinct with total naturalness. But when that day comes, will his body still be able to keep up? Or will the ultimate price of this technique be something even he isn't prepared to pay? One thing is certain: Goku won't stop. Even if his body hurts, even if his bones break, he will continue to advance as he always has, because that's what he is: a warrior, a master of the impossible, a mortal who dared to touch the power of the gods. When Goku finally achieved what became known as true Ultra Instinct, everything changed. Unlike the pure version, which required complete emotional neutrality, an almost unattainable state for a mortal, this new form was born not from calm, but from the emotional intensity that defines Goku as a Saiyan. He no longer needed to empty his heart, silence his soul, or become a being indifferent to emotions. On the contrary, he embraced everything he felt, and that's when true instinct blossomed. What was once seen as a limitation, the fact that mortals couldn't free themselves from their feelings, became the differential. Goku has been a warrior driven by emotion from the beginning. He fights for his friends, for Earth, for the love of a challenge, and even for the will to protect his children. And when he learns to channel those emotions without letting them control him, he created something even the angels hadn't imagined: an Ultra Instinct rooted in his Saiyan essence. Whis was surprised to see this transformation, not just by its appearance or energy, which still retained the lightness of the silver form, but by the controlled emotional flow Goku maintained. He was instinctive, yes, but now his instincts were guided by love, determination, and even anger when necessary. This combination created a new path, different from the cold and distant mastery of the angels, something unique, personal, human, or rather Saiyan. And that's incredible, because for the first time, Goku no longer needs to adjust to the divine standard to achieve absolute power. Now it's the power that adjusts to him. He molded Ultra Instinct his way, with his rules, with his nature, with his fighting spirit. This achievement is not just an evolution of technique, it's an affirmation of identity. Ultra Instinct stopped being something borrowed from the gods. Now it belongs to Goku. With that, the limitations began to diminish. Before, every time he used Ultra Instinct, Goku suffered intense pain because his body had to sustain a technique that wasn't made for him. But now, with true Ultra Instinct, the energy flow seems natural. His movements are light, his mind stable, and the pain, well, the pain still exists, but it's different. It's the weariness of someone who fights with everything they have, no longer the punishment for carrying a burden that isn't theirs. This new state also influenced his decisions in combat. Goku no longer depends on coldness or passivity to maintain control. He can shout, smile, fight with intensity, all without losing the pure instinct for dodging an automatic attack. The fluidity continues, but now it pulses with emotional energy. This makes him not only stronger, but more unpredictable, more lethal, more complete. And this balance between emotion and technique is even starting to impact his physical growth. Goku's body now responds better to Ultra Instinct. His muscles don't collapse in the same way, the divine aura doesn't consume his reserves as before, and his stamina has drastically increased. What once lasted seconds or minutes can now extend for an entire battle. He's no longer pushing the limits, he's within them. But perhaps the most notable thing is how much this reinforces Goku's Saiyan heritage. Throughout his journey, many questioned whether he was more divine or more warrior. With true Ultra Instinct, the answer is clear. He is, above all, a Saiyan. And it's that blood that allowed him to break the rules and create his own version of a sacred technique. It's as if the lineage of the warriors of planet Vegeta had finally found its fusion point with the heavens. The influence of this form also manifests in its aura. Unlike the silver coldness of common Ultra Instinct, Goku's true Ultra Instinct carries livelier energy pulses, almost like silver flames mixed with bluish and golden glows, representing the union of angelic instinct with the pride and intensity of a warrior. It's a visual spectacle, but also a symbol of something new being forged, the divine with a warrior's soul. And this transformation has even inspired the gods of destruction. Beerus, for example, who always mocked mortals' emotional attachment, has come to respect Goku even more. After all, he did what not even a god of destruction attempted: humanize the divine. Instead of becoming a god, Goku showed that a mortal with heart, flaws, and emotion can achieve something that goes beyond the gods themselves. But this evolution doesn't make him invincible. There are still challenges on the horizon, like Black Frieza or even beings from universes we don't yet know. And that's where true Ultra Instinct shines most, because Goku is no longer trying to achieve something above him. He has accepted himself, and that means he can continue to evolve not as a perfect being, but as a warrior who learns from every fall. Goku now walks a path that is uniquely his, a path where emotion and instinct walk side by side, a path where he no longer needs to suppress himself to access his greatest power. On the contrary, he needs to feel, to live, to surrender, and that's what makes him unique. It's not just the power that makes Goku special, it's the fact that even touching the divine, he never stopped being Goku. And in the end, that's the most incredible thing of all. Goku didn't defeat Ultra Instinct. He transformed it into a part of himself. He mastered it not as a disciple, but as a creator. Not as a servant of the divine technique, but as a warrior who imprinted his soul onto something celestial. And from here, any limit can be broken, because now the instinct is his, and no one can take that away. This new level Goku has reached with true Ultra Instinct has a certain destiny: the confrontation against Black Frieza. Since the appearance of this terrifying version of his old enemy, it has become clear that the threat level has risen to a point never before seen. Frieza, who was already deadly dangerous in his golden form, now carries a power that not even the gods of destruction seem to underestimate. He is the perfect enemy to test the limits of the new Goku, not the one who seeks divine perfection, but the one who embraced his nature to create something greater. The clash between these two will be more than just a simple fight. It will be the collision of two philosophies. Frieza represents cold, calculated, selfish evolution, seeking power above all else at any cost. Goku, with his Ultra Instinct molded by emotions, symbolizes organic growth, power born from the heart, from fair fight, from persistence. When these two collide, it won't just be an exchange of blows, it will be an explosion of completely opposing ideologies, styles, and journeys, and it's exactly in this scenario that true Ultra Instinct will show its worth. While Frieza will rely on his brutality and speed acquired in the vacuum time, Goku will show that there is an even greater strength, that of someone who fought for everything, who fell countless times but who always got up with more conviction. With this new instinct, Goku will no longer need to suppress himself to fight like a god. He will fight as Goku, the pure-hearted Saiyan, and still dodge everything, attack with precision, and surprise even Frieza himself. This confrontation will be the culmination of the journey Goku has been on since the Tournament of Power. Now, there are no more masks, no more doubts. He is the first mortal to transform angelic power into something personal, emotional, and irreversible. And when the battle against Black Frieza happens, it will be the definitive stage to show that Ultra Instinct does not belong to the gods. It belongs to whoever has the courage to feel, fight, and never give up, and no one represents that better than Goku. But let me know what you thought of all this, and don't forget to hit that like button. Thank you all so much for your support, and until next time,